Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at Storm Collectibles Tekken 7 HEIHACHI figure, which is a game I just never got into Tekken. I don't have anything against it, but I've never been a big fan of it, let's say. But some of the character designs are really cool, and since they included Akuma in Tekken 7, of course I had to be like, yes, this seems like a good franchise. They have to be. They wouldn't include Akuma if they weren't. And HEIHACHI's like the main dude, I guess. Well, maybe Jin. Or Kazuya? I don't know their names. Anyway, it's a cool looking character, and I have to say it might be Storm's best effort yet. I'm not sure, but I think it might be. Chun-Li was a really solid release. Obviously, we've had a lot of good ones, but this one is particularly nice, guys. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands to the top of his head about 18.5. Add another centimeter for the hair. That's going to make him just about, let's say, 7.25 to 7.75, right around there for overall height. And I think that's pretty good. I mean, it's in scale with everything else, so that's fine. And like I said, he's easily one of the better, if not the best looking figures that they've released. You'll notice we have a tiny bit of no neck syndrome here, and it's not even bad at some angles, it's okay. But the good thing is the way the head is designed, you can kind of just lift it up a little bit, and then you're just about perfect. So that's pretty good. So don't worry about that too much. If you push it down too far, you can just lift it up a little bit, and you'll be good to go. Of course, that does create a little bit of gapping, but it still looks better, so that's fine. Yeah, this guy looks really good. The sculpt is nice. His gi is completely textured, so that makes the figure look 100% better right there. I mean, that's automatically bonus points. And then, of course, the wrist wraps are textured as well, so that's good. The skin still looks like all the skin they've done, which is very nicely done, so that's good. Belt is textured. Really, really well done. They got the tiger on the back there. Very nicely done. Very, very good. The only issue I have with that is that for some reason my gi is kind of warped, so there's a lump like right in the middle, but that's probably just mine, so no big deal there. And of course you can see there's like weathering throughout the gi. There's like this grayish white, and then there's even a little bit of brown mixed in here and there to make it look dirty, so that's nice. And then lastly, well, two lastlies. One is they did the chest, which you'll see closer in a little bit. The scar looks very nice in there. And then the face is just really well done. I think it's probably the best accuracy we've seen from them. Very, very nicely done. Good details, good likeness, good paints, just very, very, very well executed. So that's pretty awesome. As far as accessories go, the first one we're going to talk about is the top of the gi because it comes off. Pop that off. That's got a swivel on there, by the way, so we'll cover that now as far as the articulation goes. The belt comes off, of course, and then you pop this off. And then you can remove the gi, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to take it off for the rest of the review. Now, you can hear the shoulders. I might as well talk about that right now. The shoulders are very stiff in the swivel department, so that can be a problem. You have to be careful when you hear your joints making noises like that. You have potential for breakage, and then you also have potential for shredding, which means the plastic's going to eventually literally shred at a microscopic level. So you have to be very careful with that. But so there's our first accessory. We have the gi that does come off completely. We'll talk about the rest of the figure in a minute. Continuing with the accessories, we have three different heads. We have the neutral head that comes on him in the package, one kind of smirking head, and then one where he's yelling or taking a bite out of something. We have two fist hands that come on him in the package, two karate chop style hands, and then two different sets of gripping, grappling, or martial arts style hands, whatever you want to call those. We do have one lightning effect for a punch, and one whirly, windy thingy for, I guess, another punch. I don't know, like I said, I don't play these games, but they're all nicely done. I guess they could have a little bit more saturation in the blue, but otherwise looks pretty good. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at that scar again real quick while we have it here, and then we'll move forward. Very, very nicely done. It's sculpted and painted. Very pleased with that. Alright, so moving on to the articulation. You kind of already saw the head. It's on a ball peg. I'll go ahead and just pop it off and show you. We have a ball peg there, and it is a ball peg at the bottom as well, so it's a double ball peg, and you get pretty decent range out of it. Again, you don't want to probably push the head down all the way because it gets a little no-necky, but lift it up just a little bit like that, and you should be good, and you get decent range. It's really nice. You can lean it side to side, which is a really, really useful thing for posing your figure in a nice, realistic way. A little attitude always helps. So you can lean back and forward, not too much though. It's pretty limited in that regard. And then, of course, you have your rotation, which is fine. So the neck feels a little stiffer on this guy. Maybe it's just the socket for the ball peg, because the plastic itself feels very soft. But you still get decent range. Even if you only use that top ball peg, it looks really good, so that's fine. Now for the shoulders, we do have that ball peg. It's very stiff. It goes all the way into the middle, and it holds the entire arm on. It's very, very stiff, though. and then it's a little stiff and squeaky going this way too for the actual hinge. But with that hinge and the ball peg, you can raise the arm up no problem at all. Of course, it goes all the way down. The butterfly part leans forward and back pretty well. Now, the one issue is that the cap in here doesn't necessarily follow the arm, and you end up with it stuck inside the torso and some gapping going on, and it's kind of a hassle to get it to move around. So it's a little bit of an issue, but it's not a big one. So it does move around nicely though. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow, just better than 90 by the tiniest little bit. The wrist, no problems with the wrist. These are loose pieces, very soft plastic. So you have this connected in a ball peg into the wrist, and then a hinge on the outside and a straight peg for the hand. So you can move the hand around very nicely. Hands are nice and soft. Move these guys however you want to, really, and it's going to work. So that's pretty cool. I like that. And these, of course, will hide that joint. So nicely done there. For the diaphragm joint, again, it's a little bit stiff. Not necessarily a problem, but you want to keep an eye on that. Leaning back is pretty good. You might get some gapping, but you can kind of shift around the torso to make it look all right. You can lean him pretty far forward too, so that's pretty good. Side to side, very stiff, but it does go side to side. Not as far as forward and back, but it will work. Rotation's fine. Watch out for that squeaking. That's a warning sign, so be careful with that. It's not breaking, but it could end up becoming loose or eventually breaking. So just be extra careful. Don't just grab it and start moving it. Be a little cautious. For the lower torso, very stiff again, but really good range on that. So it leans forward nicely. Oh man, you really want to be careful if you're experiencing what I am experiencing. Leans back very nicely too. Of course, you'll get a little gapping, but you can hide most of that. And then, what about side to side? Side to side, doesn't want to go. So I don't know if it can't or it doesn't even want to twist right now. Very, very risky. Like you can see it's kind of like flexing itself. If you have that happening, you don't want to just crank on it. You want to heat it up or kind of lean it in different directions before moving it. Yeah, that's not a good sign. We have a loose floating piece for the crotch. We have the same kind of hips as we have on Alex, and similar to Chun-Li. No ratchet in there, but it is that type of hinge. It's a little squeaky, but it's not loose. And then going forward and back, it's not loose like Alex, so that's pretty good. You get decent range out of them. Maybe not as far as the ball pegs, but it works, so that's okay. You do have your thigh swivel, which is fine. Double jointed knees, a little bit better than 90. Not too bad, definitely not bad looking either. They sculpted inside the knee joint, so that's good. Then for the ankles, you can actually rotate the lower leg inside the pant leg. It's a little tricky to grab onto, but you can do it. Then the ankles have just your standard hinge going back, not too bad. Standard hinge going forward, pretty limited. You do have your toe hinge, but overall that's still pretty limited. And then you have your ankle swivel, which is the same as like Marvel Legends, so it comes off at a real weird angle, and you're going to have to rotate that lower leg in there to make the foot actually usable. But once you do that, it does work very nicely. So ultimately, this is a really solid figure. Really, the only issue is the sticky joints, and I don't mean sticky as in like gum, I said sticky as in like they don't want to move. I can definitely look past the head sitting a little low, especially since you can pop it back up. And like things like the cap in there being stuck in the chest, that's not going to be a big issue, especially if you keep his gi on. So yeah, there are some issues, but overall it's a really solid release, and I'm happy to add it to my collection, even though I have really no connection to the character at all. It's a cool figure. It's going to be nice to put up against the other lines, and I'm happy with it, and I think you guys will be too. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up almost every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, and video games. We stream 6 times a week for video games and sculpting and just all kinds of stuff for you guys to watch on the channel. So make sure you subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.